I recently had a really stimulating discussion with some senior colleagues about prevention-oriented risk formulation. And one of the questions that came up I thought was really important. One person asked, uh, with regard to risk status, isn't there medical legal risk to saying somebody is at higher risk than other people in, let's say, an outpatient setting, but then continuing to work with them in that setting? And I can understand where that concern comes from. It's just like, well, when would you do that? Why would you do that? Well, it's actually comes up quite a bit. In fact, I can think of one person for which this happens almost all the time. I'm working with somebody who has higher risk status than most other people who are on an outpatient basis because of the both his past history and his current symptoms and stressors and ideation. The key here is that when you're in that situation, you always then, it should then prompt you to say, okay, well, what kinds of things did you consider and reject in order to maintain the least restrictive environment? So for example, I might say, considered an inpatient hospitalization, but rejected it for the following reasons. First, this person doesn't want to be in the hospital. Second, the risk state, that is their risk compared to baseline, is very similar to the baseline. Although the things that this person is saying are very concerning, this has been kind of this person's pattern for maybe many years. And third, we feel that an inpatient hospitalization might cut off social ties even more, which could increase both short and long-term risk. That's just an example of how you might indicate that. Now, what I've learned from consulting with malpractice attorneys is that nobody expects us to make the exact right decision every time, but we are required to really think through options. That's our duty. And demonstrating that you gave it thought, that there was consideration to that higher level of care, but it was rejected, in many ways is more powerful than if you just ignored saying anything about risk in order to avoid sounding like you were making the wrong decision. So I really appreciate that question from this colleague, and interested to hear what other people think. If you have ideas, please put them down below in the comments. Thank you.